Hey Hearties, I'm Casey.
And I'm Cammie. Welcome to the Hearties Hotline,
your connection to Hope Valley.
We want to give a shout out to our friends at Edify Films, where you can get fabulous When Calls the Heart merchandise, like my hat.
And you can also get a fun When Calls the Heart game from our friends at the Bundle Game. Be sure to use discount code Hearties Hotline for 10% off.
We've got a fabulous episode for you today, full of laughter, tears, and heart.
So take a walk with us to Hope Valley and let's dive in. Hi Hearties! Welcome back to the Hearties Hotline, and we are so excited, so excited because we have a very special friend of ours joining the podcast, and you may recognize her as Shawl from Hallmark Channel's Bubbly Sesh. Hi, Shawl.
Hi, Shawl.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me on. I've loved your recaps this season, so it's thrilling me right now to be on with the two of you. Your energy is it's the best. So thank you for having me.
Casey, she stole my line. She put a bug in my brain or something, because I was going to say the exact same thing. Yeah. Well, and Shawl, the big thing. I know, I'm telling you.
Already, within the first 5 minutes.
That's right.
But the big thing is that, Casey and I were together last week. And so, I don't know about her, but I'm feeling like, oh, we're not together this week. So this is a huge compensation and a huge way to make up for that. So,
oh, that is so sweet, Cammie. And we've never actually met. So this is like really, really fun.
I know, this is so fun.
I loved when you ladies were all together and you were like putting out some great Instagram content too during that time. So I was following along. And I loved in the last episode, if anyone hasn't checked out their last one, do, because you sort of break it down, the reaction at the end of episode 10, what your reaction was on Instagram. So I liked that a lot.
Yes.
We had a lot of reactions.
We definitely had a lot of reactions, and it was we didn't even plan it. We really didn't plan it for it to be the wedding episode. It just so happened that the week we planned this happened to fall on the weekend of the wedding, so it was actually pretty perfect.
Made it fun. Yeah, made it perfect.
Yeah. But this is kind of fun for me because prior to you all being Hallmark Channel's Bubbly Sesh, you and Jax had, ventured off and started the original Bubbly Sesh, and I was a guest covering When Calls the Heart, the greatest blessing, maybe?
Yes, that's it. That's right. Yeah. So Casey, you've been with us from the beginning. That was so much fun. And again, you were like, we knew before we even came, like, we were like, who do we want to have a guest on for that episode? You're our When Calls the Heart girls. So it's perfect that y'all started this podcast. So are you going to keep going and do, after this is over, are you going to go back and do some of the other seasons too? Okay.
Yep. We're going to go back and do season 2. We're going to take a little bit of a break just because it's been a lot and it's been a very long run for us, but take a little break over the summer and then we'll come back to recap season 2.
Because we already recapped season 1.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Yep. So
awesome.
That'll be fun. And then we might be doing some little, I don't know if we're going to do some mini book club stuff over the summer on Instagram just to keep things, fresh and alive.
Okay.
Maybe bringing some interviews.
Yeah.
Very fun. Okay. So I will make sure to stay on it then.
Yes.
And check it all out.
There you go. Well, that is perfect. So Shawl, let's just get to know you for anybody who's not familiar with you on the Hallmark Channel's Bubbly Sesh. Can you tell us a little bit of like where you're located, and then if you feel comfortable, where do you fall with the Team Lucas and the Team Nathan thing?
Does she want to admit that on the air?
I think I'm with you. I mean, I'm definitely with you ladies because you are Team Nathan. Team Nathan strong right over here. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. But let's see. Well, I'm a podcaster for Hallmark Channel. I co-host, and co-produce with my co-host Jax, who is on Hallmark Channel's Bubbly Sesh too, and we're the official podcast of Hallmark Channel. So that's been just the funnest job. I'm from Georgia, now live in New York City. And yeah, I'm Team Nathan Strong, baby. And this episode.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if we're jumping right in or if we're waiting
you know
to talk
what?
about that.
I was just gonna say, you know what? We're all Team Nathan here, and this started off with a bang, and that's how we're gonna start. We're gonna go right to that beginning.
Yes. Ooh, I'm warming up in here.
I mean, I'm getting a little hot. I knew
Nathan said that, right? He's like, I'm feeling warm now.
Thank you for warming me up.
Uh-huh.
My favorite part of that was take off your surge. Huh?
I know. That was just like, they always have such great romantic tension. Like even when it's not, because I actually appreciated this scene a lot, and I've been waiting for it because I feel like every time we've seen them, they are in heavy conflict about something, or it's been like sort of a sad moment for them. Like, even early on when, Nathan admits he's in love with her, it's like that moment wasn't, she runs and
it's
like
still conflictual.
Exactly. Yeah. And then this one was finally like, oh, okay, we're slowing down here. Like these two are calm and relaxed and,
Yes.
So I was waiting for this scene.
Yes. Cami, how did you feel? Do I need to pass you a fan? We're not in person.
Maybe I should
we'll
turn
fan
on
you to the screen.
Maybe I need to turn on my overhead fan a little bit. Am I starting to sweat yet? For one thing, I appreciated Nathan being so playful. Uncovering the bouquet with his hat. Like, oh my gosh, so cute. And just like you said, Shawl, they have been in conflict, or she's been fleeing, or it's been really intense. Now, the scene got intense, but it started out very calm and easy and playful. And I really appreciated that he was being playful and that he was intentionally not being so focused and driven and serious. I do wonder, however, given his feelings for her, how did he forget to give her the bouquet? I don't know how he could have forgotten that. I just don't. But the other thing that I found very big was the gloves. The fact that Elizabeth offered the gloves, I think it was very right of Nathan to politely refuse, and he did that very well. He really refused it very politely and very well, and I think he was right to do it. But the fact that she offered a pair of Jack's old gloves, that's big. That's very big. And I think that it shows how far she's come in dealing with the whole death incident. And I think that it just shows how far she has come in a mourning way. She is reaching her new acceptance level, because we saw her get to the acceptance level, but it was like it happened all over again. And so she's getting to that new acceptance level.
Yeah. And what's interesting too with this scene is both of them looked as though a burden had rolled off their backs. A fresh new morning. And I mean,
until the end of the scene. But yeah.
But still, there were lots of little things that I picked up on. Like when she said to, after she asks well, yes, she's playing with the bouquet and she says to Nathan, how did you come to have this? Her voice, like, I know this is really small and maybe particularly nitpicky, but her voice started that whole like high breathy thing that she would do with Jack. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, ooh.
We're moving into flirty.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
you
that
know?
was a flirty, like she was charmed. She was definitely charmed by also, I think, the mystery of too, like, why are you giving these to me so late? Also, like, and there was a boyishness to him too that I think she was sort of playing off of. That was, yeah, she was definitely really. I noticed that. I noticed it too, Casey, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that I felt like, I mean, and then also, you know, when he says the line of, she thought you'd be the next to be married.
Oh,
that's when it started getting intense.
Well, I mean, you know, and I think Kevin McGarry is so talented. Obviously, all of us do. But the way he is looking at her, actually, is like he's so in love with her. I mean, you can just see it. Like the way he's looking at her right when he said that, the camera it stops on his face for a second and he's just staring at her. And it's like, oh, my Team Nathan heart went like pitter patter. That was a moment for me. That was a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what was a moment for me?
I wonder if we're going to say the same thing.
Maybe when she helps him put his serge back on. He went to full, like, I'm not gonna lie, she went into full wife mode.
Yes, she did. She was about to button his serge up and then you could see her stop herself. Whoa, never mind. You
know? Oh my. And the second time I was like,
a pen just flew out of the sky because I was so excited about that. It literally just fell down. I wanted to ask you ladies, though, I was curious in that because I thought both of the two of them played this so well. And, you know, Erin always does such a great job of having just like a mix of emotions. Like in a second, like there's, you know, she's charmed by him, then she's, you know, reflecting on something, and then she's remembering Jack. Did you see her remembering Jack, though, in this sequence? Because I saw her struggle with that a little bit, and not struggle to, not that she didn't want to remember him, but just again, the grief that I feel like has been cropping up for her all season and surprising her in ways. I think in this scene, it really came across too, you know, just going through the motions that she probably did, right? She even said that. She said, like,
I used to do this for Jack on chilly mornings.
Yes. So I thought that was not a wrinkle per se, but like just it was then it's sort of you know, the romance that I was feeling between them, it sort of like took a little bit of the air out of that, because I was like, oh, she's also, you know, naturally so reminded of that as well. And so I wonder if anytime she looks at him too, there are times where, because I think both of you have said that on the show, right? Like earlier on, talking about how Jack, you know, she might look at Nathan like that, or so I saw that in this scene a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely saw that when she was referring to, you know, warming the serge up during chilly mornings. And I thought it was interesting too that that's kind of the first time that she's ever really talked about Jack and has mentioned his name to anybody else, because we saw her with Minnie and she refers to him as, you know, my late husband, blah, blah. And then she immediately like closes that door when Minnie tries to open it and say, that must be still really fresh for you. Or even with Lucas or Rosemary, like she never goes into those memories of Jack. And I think there's kind of there's a weird connection there between Nathan and Elizabeth, because Nathan is also a Mountie, so he gets it. And then Elizabeth was married to a Mountie and dated Jack for so long. So she also kind of gets it, but they're still more parallel instead of like connecting, you know, especially when it comes to remembering Jack. I mean, you know, and I think too, she's also subtly telling Nathan, like, it's okay to talk about him and it's okay for us to remember him. And, you know, me mentioning these things, it's not to make you feel bad, but just, this is a part of who I am. So I thought there was a lot there, you know?
Yeah. And I think the other thing is that Jack and his memory, even before Nathan told her about the incident, I think that has been a running theme for this whole season. You know, we know that she's going to take the ring off from the preview, and they have saved that until the finale. I wondered if they were going to do it sooner, but they didn't. They are saving it for the finale. But when Lucas is over at her place having dinner in the backyard, and he holds out his hand and she takes it, and he closes his hand around it, it is very obvious that her wedding ring is right there, and his finger even brushes it. And so I think that we even mentioned that, Casey, and it shows that whoever she does pick, there's still going to be something to get through, a wrinkle, like you said, Shawl, that this is not over. Just because she is finding love again, it does not mean that Jack is wiped from her memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we will see what happens with the triangle with Elizabeth and Nathan and Lucas next episode. And we will save Lucas for the end since we ended there. But let's move on to some of our other couples of Hope Valley. Let's move on to Faith and Carson. Oh boy.
Oh my word.
Yeah, there's these two, and we had Paul Green on our recap episode. So he gave us a lot of insight into some of the fun scene, that whole fun scene with the engagement ring and the pudding and shooting that. So definitely go check that out on our podcast.
Yeah. I want to hear about that. Definitely.
Yeah. And he talks a lot about this dynamic this season in terms of, again, this is a big deal. This is a really big deal for Carson. This is a dream of Carson's that he's always wanted. And also, I think the two of you have brought this up before. Like any job, you want something, you also start to get to maybe want something new. You want something different. And the interesting thing is that I feel like it could just be as simple as the both of them deciding, hey, we're going to go together. But the fact that Faith has been so, hesitant and wanting to stay in Hope Valley, which I don't blame her. And I think that's great that she's been very clear about her feelings and what she wants, because I think that's very important. But at the same time, I think it does sort of showcase a reflection about their relationship in a sense, because I think you do make compromises sometimes for someone if they're like the ultimate priority. And so for her to not feel like that quite yet is a signifier, I think. I don't know. That's just the way I sort of took it.
Well, and knowing exactly where you want your significant other to be is a really good head start. She kind of has to get that down first.
Yeah,
for sure. So we actually had a listener who listened to our episode last week when I said, does somebody have a running copy of all of Faith and Carson's frustrating conversations? Yes, NP on YouTube.
What?
Sent it to us. I know this person is amazing.
Bless you.
I know. So I'm definitely going to go through. I started going through and reading it and trying to just understand where is Faith's head, because sometimes I think with the season we get lost in a lot of the details because there are so many other couples and there are so many other issues and storylines going on. So for me, I was kind of like, okay, am I going crazy? What am I missing? Like, so let's take out Faith and Carson, make them their own story. So I actually did start going through, and more to come on this, more to come on the dissecting of Faith and Carson and their relationship. But in present time, I will say it is a little startling that Faith is not excited to get engaged.
That's what I mean. It sort of signifies something to me about
where her head is, where her heart is.
Yeah, where she's at. And and we had Andrea Brooks on earlier too, and she said that her and Paul were discussing, when they were prepping and stuff, like, what if they were two actors, and like, actors always, sometimes they can get jobs where they're far away or they're shooting for quite some time, and that can sometimes mess up your relationship, or if you're in a relationship, you just have to deal with it, like you have to figure out how you're going to deal with that. And she said that she thought about this the very same way. But I feel like, I think for her, ultimately, what I have loved seeing is, one, she's really come into her own, being this doctor, going off and doing that for herself, which I think is incredible. And so one, I think for her, I sort of get the feeling like she doesn't want to take that away from Carson, because she did that, right? Like she actually went away and did that. So why wouldn't he go do that? But I think for Carson, he wants her to actually go along with him. Because like, I think they could probably do long distance, like how they did, with her.
Yeah. In Chicago.
Right? But something is holding them back from doing that this time. And that's what is, the rub of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What did they say in the when she wrote down all the lines, right? The sheet that you have, like, was there one that like stuck out to you that you were like, I can't believe that somebody like put down all the scenes. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on to it's really a lot of, in the beginning, she's very excited for the fellowship. What changes is when he says, come with me. And then that's when all of a sudden it's like, hold up. And that's when the whole wishy-washy, like, you should take it. I don't want to go.
The undecidedness.
It's very like, oh wait, but you took it, but then you didn't. And I think too, maybe a little bit of their strife now, looking through it all, is the fact that because Carson accepted it, Faith is under the assumption that Carson is assuming that she's going to just automatically go with him. And I think that's where I think that's what I had missed watching it through, because at first to me, it came across as like, wait, Faith, you told him to take the fellowship. Like, why are you balking at this all of a sudden? But I really do think it's because Carson took it without talking to her. And now Carson probably is assuming that she's going to go along, but she doesn't want to leave Hope Valley. And she's made that very clear. And so I think that's maybe a little bit of her hesitancy too in becoming engaged, because if she is engaged to Carson, is he going to, I don't want to say, is he going to make her leave? But, or is she going to feel like she has to leave because she's now betrothed to Carson? I think that's probably where Faith is at. They need a lot of communication help.
let's sit down. We are going to stage an intervention.
Yeah.
We are going to go back in time and we are going to stage an intervention for Carson and Faith. So another thought that I had is obviously he's not gone yet. And we're getting to the end of the season. So could the fellowship happen off screen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Depending on how much of a time jump we have, or he goes and he tries it. We don't know how long the fellowship is supposed to last. Mm-hmm. So could it be that he's going to do the fellowship off screen and we'll see him back in season 9?
I mean, I think that's definitely plausible for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And would they stay together, you think? Or are they gonna
I don't know.
Because that's the thing. I mean, even at the end of this episode, when he's chatting with Lucas,
let's go there.
That moment, you're like, oh yeah.
I got it.
Well, one, I just had to chuckle to myself a little bit. And I didn't say this to Paul Green on our show, but it made me laugh how he was like, Faith wouldn't need a proposal. She wouldn't need a ring. And I don't think she needs a ring, but she probably would like a proposal, Carson. I think ladies would like that.
Words of confirmation, such as a proposal, would be very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to laugh at that, on the rewatch again, because I rewatched a little bit before I got on with you guys. And and I was just like, Carson, I think a proposal might be good. Talk about communication, Casey. Is he just thinking that miraculously she's just gonna get like, oh yeah, you want to marry me? Great, like we're married now, we're engaged now. There has to be an act of like proposing in order to be officially engaged. I feel like even just a chat. It doesn't have to be that traditional way of doing it.
Oh, but why not?
Absolutely. 100%, Cammie. I'm right there with you. So I just thought that was funny that he was like, oh no, she should know. And I'm like, well, actually, Carson, no, that's when you actually have to do it and then communicate together.
Right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Was Carson a little tipsy in that scene? Because I think that he started mansplaining a lot. And a lot of man feelings were coming out because he was a little bit more uninhibited, because he's never been that open with Lucas. He's talked to Lucas, but he's never been that open. And I seriously wondered if he was the slightest bit tipsy and saying some of his innermost thoughts. And then those innermost thoughts were hitting Lucas pretty hard. Did you ladies see his face?
Well, Lucas's face?
It was hitting him. Well, I was talking about Lucas's face, that the conversation was hitting him pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was putting it in the perspective of him and Elizabeth. But I think that it may have come from Carson's innermost thoughts coming out that hadn't before.
But what's also interesting is that, so when earlier on, Carson has that monologue the same with Nathan, like they're kind of bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
Also reflecting on the same two women, Faith and Elizabeth. And we know how that went. Go fight for her. Then we turn it around and we are now talking to Lucas, also still talking about the same women.
Same two women.
Yeah.
In very different contexts. I mean,
Well, and then when Lucas says to Carson about moving on and fresh starts, I was like,
moved on.
Okay, so that's the advice you're giving Carson, but then because like you said, Cammie, I saw Lucas's wheels turning and relating it back to what he's going through.
Yeah.
So is he going to move on?
Those eyes are windows to his soul.
Right? So I just thought too, I was like, wait, where is this? going, because he has been, Lucas has been, for all intents and purposes, pursuing Elizabeth, this whole entire season. I mean, they've had dates. They've had they're dating, right?
They were considered a couple.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then if he's talking about that, and granted, she did not say goodbye to him at the wedding. And I was upset. I was upset about that. I did say that on our show too. I was upset about it.
Yeah.
She didn't say goodbye to him.
No. There's we're already talking about, let's just move on to Lucas and Elizabeth at this point, because that scene, well, first of all, we start off the episode with Lucas driving by and seeing Nathan's horse there. This is we assume it's maybe a week or two after the Floya wedding, in which he also witnesses Elizabeth and Nathan holding hands. We fast forward, go to the school, Elizabeth is setting up, and she won't even pause to go to lunch with him. Even something as simple as that, because she is so conflicted right now. And I gotta say, even as a Team Nathan girl, I felt so sorry for Lucas. I mean, he just looks so forlorn.
Same.
And I mean, the writing really was on the wall at this point. We had been seeing it, and then the layers have been going on top of each other every episode. Lucas in his teacup. But I really think that
the teacup that sees all, it is the teacup. I've been like, oh, Lucas, do you have to be so observant? Do you have to be?
The teacup did not see the holding hands.
The teacup did not see the holding hands, and the teacup did not see the horse outside the house. I was just expecting the teacup to just he just had it in the car. Yeah. Yeah, but does he have to be so observant? I'm right there with you, ladies. I felt for him a lot. I mean, last episode I felt for him, witnessing the holding of hands, and again, it doesn't have to necessarily look romantic, right? Jax and I talked about this on the Bubbly Sesh recap. We talked about how it could just be you hold your friend's hands, but the fact that, or you're comforting somebody maybe, right? But the fact that he knows what their history is, and he knows that Nathan has pretty much said, I'm still fighting for her. I still hold a candle for her. I just felt so, anyway, all of that from last episode to now what's happening here. It really, I'm like, oh, does he have to be so observant? Right. Does he have to be? Right. Because it broke my heart. It broke my heart for him.
100%. And then it's not even the fact that he sees Nathan doing it. It's always Elizabeth and her, she's looking, or, now he didn't see who reached out, who touched who first, but it's just all these other moments he sees. Usually it's Elizabeth going after Nathan, looking at Nathan, watching him. It's not usually.
Man's not blind and he's not stupid.
Yeah. It's not usually Nathan going up to Elizabeth and inserting himself. It's not very often that he does that.
Yeah, she initiates. She initiates a lot of their conversations, and I think too, I've always said this, and I think most Team Nathan people agree on this, which is they have this connection. They can't really, they have a bond together, Nathan and Elizabeth. I think all of the things that she's done for Allie and the connection she has with Nathan through that, along with, now the news about Fort Clay and why Nathan's why Nathan originally came to Hope Valley. They just have so many connections that they're always tied to each other. And I think Lucas sees that. He sees the pull that Elizabeth has to Nathan, and it's not even, it's not even verbalized. He sees the nonverbal of it, her looks, her walking towards him, all of those things.
Yeah.
That breakup speech.
Oh.
I mean, I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry for him so much. It just, even though he has not said the words, I love you, he has not said them. You can tell that he cares so, so deeply. And I would not think that it is very far-fetched to say that he is in love with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
I think he is. I think he absolutely is.
Absolutely.
And what I thought was, I mean, it really made me like him even more, I think, because I just think he's such an upstanding character.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lucas really is such a good man.
Mm-hmm.
In this way. I mean, and different from Nathan, because I also think, Nathan has, I always say that about Nathan too, is why I'm making that distinction, because I always say, oh, Nathan's such a good man. But Lucas he has such a beautiful heart, I think, for like his feelings for Elizabeth are really unselfish.
Mm-hmm.
He's been waiting for her. He's been patient.
That is the word. That is the word for him. He has been so patient this entire time.
Yeah.
And I even feel like the way he spoke to her, I mean, I could even see Lucas being a little mad at her. Like having that be a little bit more of a communication between them that was fraught with a bit more tension.
Mm-hmm.
But because Lucas is the guy that he is, I love that he was so unselfish in that moment to, even though it was breaking his heart, he knew, I mean, I think he says like, I want you to find who you're in love with.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the exact line, but
I've got it right here. I wrote the entire thing down.
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, what's the exact line?
It was so heartfelt. I said, I'm writing this down. Love is not just an emotion. It's also an act of will. It can't be demanded, can't be forced. I want you to find your true love. And in order to do that, I need to set you free. Oh, it's so, and then add on top of that, I have to admit, I witnessed the discussion. I also noticed his horse here the other day. And while I'm not resentful, I don't understand why he isn't, but while I'm not resentful from what I've seen and from what you've told me, I believe that you and Nathan still ...
Yeah, he can't even say you still care about each other. You still, because he actually doesn't know, because she hasn't said what exactly she feels. And yeah, Cammie, that's so telling that he doesn't even finish the sentence.
Yeah. He can't do it. He can't finish it.
He can't. But he's also pointing out that it is also on Elizabeth's part too. Because
this is not just Nathan's fault.
Like, and I think that's important for everybody to realize, is that Lucas has said specifically, he has observed, and he could have easily just been like, listen, Nathan's still chasing after you, bye. But he says it's Nathan and Elizabeth. You and Nathan, like, as a grouping. Which means he knows that there is something that is holding Elizabeth back from him, and it's got to be Nathan, because he's observed all of the looks, all of the incidents or whatever. But I thought that was really also just, I mean, in a weird way, it was romantic in a sense, because I felt like Lucas was showcasing to her just how much he actually really cares about her, to put her needs over his own.
Very.
But at the same time, I also was like, good for you, Lucas. Like, also, like, good for you to actually say, like, hey, calling it out, like, you need to make up your mind. You know, like I mean, I'm getting a little bit fiery here, because I've been feeling this way the whole season, honestly, like team Nathan, team whatever. I mean, these are both upstanding gentlemen. You know, I mean, we know that. Y'all have said that too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, whoever they're going to be with, either one, like they're going to be great to that woman, to their partner. They're both wonderful men.
Mm-hmm.
So I've sort of been like, you know, Elizabeth, quit, like, figure out those feelings so you can like let one of them move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been my thing this season. Like,
it's been our thing.
It's been your thing too. Okay.
It's been our thing. And
I get the predicament she's in. Listen, I'm not downplaying. Elizabeth's going through a lot. You know, the grief is coming up again with the Fort Clay from that coming out. That's a resurgence of feelings and emotions, and grief is so, I mean, you can't really clock it, you know.
It's tricky.
It's tricky, and it's different for everyone. You know, you can go through different phases. You can think you're over something and have sort of moved on, and then you're pulled back in. And so I see her struggling with that this season. But I just sort of want her to take a minute by herself, like over the weekend, be journaling, journal it out, girl, and then come back strong and like say, okay, I got it. I know what's up, which is basically the ending here, that he's saying to her, I'm going to set you free so that you can figure out what your heart wants, you know?
Yeah. And I was proud of him. I was really proud of him for that, because he's tired of it. You know, he tried it. He went after her with everything he had. And he showed her how much he cares about her. I truly believe that he did grow to love her and fell in love with her and all of that. So, you know, he fell at first, and then through their time together, he has grown to love her even more in a deeper sense. But he knows that her heart is not steady on the course of the two of them as it stands right now. And I'm so glad and so proud of him that he kind of stood up for himself. Yep. He said, you need to figure out what you want. Yeah, because, and I think that part of him was saying, because my heart can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And, like, he needs to know the all in all out absolute truth.
Yeah. And he deserves that.
And he deserves it 100%.
They both do. That's what I mean. They both deserve it. And Elizabeth deserves it too. I don't want to see Elizabeth going through this for herself either. You
don't want to see her going through motions.
Yeah, I want her to get to a place where she feels secure in what she wants. And, you know, I want that for all the women in my life, you know, like for them to feel secure in so many aspects, but like, especially when it comes to your partner that you're choosing, I want you to feel, you know, good about that and secure and ready to move forward and move into whatever future you're going towards, you know, and not
absolutely,
you know, still be stuck sort of in the past.
Yeah.
So
for sure. I mean,
heartbreaking.
It really is. And, you know, regardless what team you fall, I think we can all agree here for Luke, like, and specifically for Lucas, he deserves someone who will adore him, who will just fawn over him, who will care for him 110%. And
amen.
Yeah,
he really does deserve that. And that's something I have not seen come from Elizabeth when it comes to their relationship. It's very much this tricky, wishy-washy 50-50 balance where she's trying, but something keeps moving her back. And I think he deserves somebody who will like bare their soul to him, and he feels free to let that person in and let them have those deep moments, because we really didn't see a lot of that. There's a wall still with Elizabeth, and even with him a little bit, there's still a wall there.
Yeah.
But
he's holding himself back too, though. You know, I mean, I think even that moment, like when he didn't go for the kiss, like a few episodes before, like, and again, and you already talked about this at length, so I'm not gonna hijack this episode here. Sorry, ladies, but I just even then I was thinking, oh, okay, like he's holding back for her. Like he wants her to be ready, which I love that about him. He's such a consent is so important. Boundaries are so important. And he is an upstanding gentleman when it comes to that. And I love that about him. But he also is holding his heart back a little bit because again, he has not gotten full confirmation, I think. And also he's done so many sweet gestures for her. And so I feel like we need to see her do a gesture we need to see something from her too in that regard. Like he needs that. I feel like he needs a partner that's gonna love him like that the way he loves. Because that's the way he loves too. You know what I mean? So I mean whatever woman ends up with him, she's gonna be lucky because Lucas is a good guy. But it was definitely heartbreaking.
Yes,
totally
for sure. And may I lightly point out that he still didn't go in her house.
He still didn't go in her house.
Oh, we're gonna bring that up, right? Isn't that a thing? Like,
it's a thing. He's never been in. He's never been inside. So.
It could be a metaphor. Anyways, we'll ponder on that one.
Okay.
Yes. Let's move on to another couple who has also had some troubles. Jesse and Clara. We see Jesse was for literally missing 2 seconds this episode.
Yeah. I know. Jesse was missing for 95% of the episode.
But, I get it now. I get it now. Because at first, with the whole Jesse and Clara, they came off of their honeymoon, and then the wedding's over, and they're fighting, and then there's like this big, there's the minor blow up, then there's the big blow up, and then there's their separation, and then we have this somewhat of a reconciliation, and then we have the trust building again. We really saw that last week at the wedding when she's like, "No, stop it, stop beating yourself up over the whole money thing," and that's when I said, they're back. But then this episode, you guys, did y'all not just die for Clara? Because
my heart sank. My heart
so scary.
So scary.
I mean,
especially since she's already lost one husband, and that was what she was afraid of right before she got married.
Exactly. And also just that, Wyman Walden's in town, and so some of that also emotionally. When she sees him in the jail, I was like, I almost thought she was gonna go in there.
I would not have blamed her.
No, I wouldn't have either.
That man is a
bars
creep.
Off, Superwoman. But I just it's really scary, and I'm really feeling for her because it's been a little bit of an emotional roller coaster for them. And it's really tested. That's a deep thing to test your marriage. Because it's really about trust. There was a lack of trust. The trust was destroyed for a little bit there. Yeah. And that can be hard to replenish, I mean, it takes time. And luckily we've seen them get back to this place only to have him go missing. And then also this guy, Wyman Walden, to come back into the picture too. So I'm totally feeling for Clara. I'm totally feeling for her.
I love the scene with Clara and Lee because we rarely ever see the two of them paired up.
We don't.
And I'm not going to lie. When he is comforting her, I'm like, why don't the Coulters have a child? Because he would be the perfect father.
No. I know.
The way he was caring for her,
wrapping her up in a blanket.
And then just telling her hey, it's okay. It's going to be okay. Or listen, Wyman Walden is not worth your time. He's just so fatherly in that moment.
That hug was that hug was the sweetest thing ever in the whole episode. It was just adorable. It was adorable to see Lee take care of, because we've seen Jesse and Lee bond, and we know that they think of each other as brothers, but we don't really see Lee and Clara together very often. And just to, or at least not just the two of them, I should say. So for them to have this scene, just the two of them, and to show how much Lee wants to care for them, not only as Jesse and Clara, not only as a couple, or he's taking care of Jesse through Clara, he wants to take care of Clara. And it's just it was the sweetest moment. And then Clara breaking down, you know, using Lee as a bit of a counselor again. Just, we spent so much time bickering, and for what?
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it really, I mean, it's just, it's so hard because, I mean, it really is that, you know, that thing where you've got to live every day, you know, like it's your last in a sense, you know, in a way, because you don't ever know what's going to happen, you know? And I think that's it. You always think back to like, oh gosh, why didn't, you know, those are the moments where you think you might lose somebody, and then you go, oh, why didn't I say I love you more? Like, why didn't we spend more of our time together being, you know, and listen, I understand why they didn't, because they had to get through that roadblock in their marriage.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That makes total sense to me, but you still can't help but think as Clara going back, going, why couldn't I have just like now have gotten to the point that I'm at now where, you know, the trust is back and I love my husband, and ultimately I'll always love him. Because it's just really scary. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of this episode, we still don't know we don't know anything.
Yeah. And know nothing about, we literally know nothing about Jesse. We just see Lee's car, and then that's it. Like no inklings or anything.
Could they leave it? Like, could that be something that they would leave? Like open-ended as something, I don't know. I mean, like at the end of the season.
I mean, I hope not.
I hope not too, because then we need to know we
gotta know.
That's a darker version of Hope Valley. We need the resolution.
Yes.
I hope, like, is he gonna be okay? Like, is he gonna be hurt? Maybe. Like, I don't know. There's so much, because I mean, what I've loved this season is John Tinker and the writers have not been scared to really bring a little bit more drama, a little bit more depth to all of the storylines. They
definitely have not.
Right? He's going there, right? And I mean, maybe, you know, it could be something where he's hurt and that sort of carries over into next season. I don't know. You know, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Something that I thought about.
Could you ladies believe the nerve of Wyman Walden sticking to his story that he refunded Clara and Jesse? I mean, at least he gave the money back, but he's sitting in a cell with a Mountie right there. I would be I would be very surprised if he didn't refund the money. But oh my word, this man has no shame.
No.
He has no shame, and he just gives me the shivers every time he comes on the screen. And
I gotta say, props to the writers for naming him, because that is such a creepy name.
Creepy name.
You're just like, ew.
Well, I like the way you were like Wyman. Like it is Wyman. The two W's. You can really like a Wyman Walden. Like it is. Yeah, he's very, I think I said it on our show. He's icky. I'm getting all the icky vibes. Getting
totally shady.
Totally shady. And also that whole conversation with Bill about like, you know, moving in and the entrepreneurial spirit and the greed. Like I was like, yeah, Bill, you tell him, you show him, Bill. But
And don't accept those golf clubs.
Yeah, exactly. But even when he was like addressing everyone, like all the business owners too, just something about him is really, shady. Shady is the right word.
Yeah. So shady.
Shady Wyman.
I'm surprised that they listened to him.
Oh, I know. I thought that was
Jesse,
surprising.
Yeah, Jesse has to have told everybody that's the man that took our money.
Mm-hmm.
Good point, Cammie.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a really good point.
I don't know why they were. I mean, I am so glad that Nathan locked him up when he had to go to the infirmary to hear Rosemary's story. But I just went, oh my gosh, why is this man walking around talking to whomever he pleases?
Mm-hmm.
It's, it was a little daunting. And he was this big, intimidating figure with everybody except Spurlock.
Oh.
Did you see that?
Oh, yes. With
He
Spurlock,
was
yes.
terrified of Spurlock, and I believe, at least I don't know. I'm a little iffy on it now, but I think that he hired Spurlock and Spurlock's two Pinkerton goons to watch the property. But at the same time, he looks very afraid of him, and it looks like Spurlock is running him. So what's going on there?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on for, literally the 11th hour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure. It's definitely, we'll find out more. We will find out more. It's one of those things that has not been wrapped yet. But, I will say I would not be surprised if this storyline goes into the next season.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
like a cliffhanger. And
I'm betting
so,
Yeah.
Hope Valley's about to be swallowed up by, this city thing, and everyone's like, what? And then that's the end of the season. Kind of like season 1 and season 2 where we had the trial.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Kind of where that cliffhanger was. So I kind of wonder if we're headed that way. I mean, it would be.
Well, that would make sense, because also with the school storyline too, that's happening
the
with
city's
Mr.
being
Landis.
swallowed up, and the school is being swallowed up.
Right, because he comes to Elizabeth to talk about, how many students are coming next year, and the influx of people, and so that would make sense that those two things would go together, I think.
Yeah.
For sure. All righty. Well, let's really quick move into Rosemary. Rosemary the reporter. Rosemary the reporter.
I love
Rose is back. Oh, so fun. Did you guys have any inklings that she would start the paper up again?
None whatsoever.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought she would, I thought when she was talking about dreams or whatnot, I mean, obviously the theater, something like that. But I also thought maybe doing something like an office, like political office for her.
Yeah.
I thought maybe running
that thought
for
crossed
something.
my mind.
Did it? Okay. Yeah. So, but this is definitely fantastic for her. I mean, as Lee so appropriately says, she's a little bit too much nosy. And she says, I'm a little bit nosy. And he's like, you're a little bit too much nosy.
A lot of nosy.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Cammie, you have it written down. You're like, you've got the lines down. Good. Don't let me butcher them, because actually, again, John and the writers have done such a beautiful job. The words matter. So wait, what is it? A lot of nosy?
You're smart, intuitive, hardworking, a little bit nosy, a lot of it nosy.
A lot of it nosy. Oh, so cute. I love that.
They are adorable. They are so adorable. And just to see him give her a desk in his office, he loves her so much, and he is so supportive of her. And he's been ready. He has been ready to jump the second that she decided what it is she wanted to do. You guys saw it, how happy he is for her. It's so dear to see a stable couple right now.
Yes.
when she says, "For once, it's me on the exam table and not you. Isn't that funny?" And Lee says, "It is not funny." It's just, just to show the history and the care between the two of them, not to mention bringing it back that in season 3, she completely messed with his office. So now she's doing it again. But this time he's a little bit more receptive to it because they're married.
Yeah. Well, that was funny because when he's like, "Is that my map?" And I was like, you think she threw out your map like she did way back when? Where's my map? She's like, "I got you a basic map." But
we were joking on our show that how many people right now too who have been like staying home, staying safe, probably sharing co-working spaces with their husbands and wives or partners can totally relate to like initially leaving like, "Is that the map I was working on? Oh, did you just unplug that light? Because I needed that light." Like all these things. But ultimately, of course, getting to this harmonious place to share the space together. And even more importantly, cheerleading her on and being her biggest fan and supporter. I just love that. And I love that what that stands for too, in terms of just, and I know Hope Valley isn't always time period authentic, but I do think that time period or not, at that time, women really, weren't supported in that way. The man was the one who was the breadwinner and probably worked and, and so even now, I think it's so important to find, if you're with a man and to find someone who's really supportive of your dreams. Like any partner should be that way, and supporting you and supporting the woman in your life. So I think that made my heart soar.
Yeah.
It made me happy. They're always they're a bright spot, seeing them, they've been the bright spot this season, I think, love wise, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will be honest with you guys, when Faith is inspecting, Rosemary and she's like, "How's your side?" And then she brings it back up and she's like, "Oh, my side, I need to get some medicine or whatever." You guys know me. I am team culture child. I'm like, pregnant?
You thought that she was complaining of a pain because she's pregnant?
Not necessarily. It was.
But you were like, maybe she doesn't know yet.
That I spoke into the universe just in the off chance that it will happen. Because
What about a peek into what it will look like if she does become pregnant? How about that?
I mean, I just want a kid for the cultures. I don't care if she gets pregnant or they adopt.
I really want them to adopt. I'm just going to say that if anyone is listening from the When Calls the Heart, I'm putting it out there. Okay. That I would love, love, love that. And we got to see a little bit of that this season with Rachel.
Yeah.
And them sort of taking care of Rachel and all of Rosemary's interactions with Rachel were just so great too.
They were great.
They were great. But I would love to see them do that, or maybe even do a foster situation or something too, which they would be wonderful at. But I totally feel that, Casey, of how we want more for them in terms of, I think they would just be such great parents, like you said. So like, of course, when you see two people that you're like, you're the type of people that need to raise children. Like you're the type of people that need to be good role models for somebody and be great caregivers. So I see that 100%.
Yeah. They just need to come to a compromise with the colors in the nursery.
There you go.
Feeling Lee is going to be pushed out of that conversation if that is.
Pink plaid. That was one thing that was one thing that I kind of said to myself. I said, okay, at least she's not messing with the colors this time, because she did in season 3.
Yes. And I mean, when we talked to Pascal, she did say the one thing she wants to see Rosemary tackle is motherhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and she also said they're not short on pitches, because I said, well, Pascal, I have some ideas.
Like,
You're like, let me just tell you.
Let me just share.
Yeah, let me share. Okay, well, good. So we've all put out there what we would like. And they just, need to make it happen, right?
Yes, exactly.
That's it. They just need to make it happen.
Definitely. All right. I have one last question before we wrap it up, because I know we've gone over many, many things. There are some things we won't be able to get to this episode, like the school and how it may affect Angela. I think we'll get into that next week, as I feel like we'll have a little bit more to talk about.
Yeah.
But one fun question.
Can I say one thing about that though, Casey? That I'm loving this season is how fiercely protective Minnie is, and seeing that in the show. I mean, even in this episode, there's only 2 moments with her. But they are just
powerful.
Isn't she? I mean, they're so powerful. They're so heartfelt. And honestly, as a mother myself, I mean, I really resonate with that. I resonate with that fierce protectiveness that she has. She's just doing Natasha's just doing such a great job.
Yeah.
And that whole, I think the storyline is so interesting too. For this season, to talk about just the school district, and to also talk about inclusive classrooms and inclusivity. And anyway, I think it's cool that they're tackling this.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are such a great addition to Hope Valley.
Yep.
I can't wait to see more from the Canfields, and I can't wait to see how Elizabeth will handle the Mr. Landis and the school and all these changes that may or may not be coming. But
and just Elizabeth's passion for, we haven't seen a whole lot of the passion to teach except with Elizabeth, because of COVID, they couldn't do very many classroom scenes. And, she goes from acting a little dismissive to Mr. Landis to begging him to let her teach Angela, and just allow me to teach a very excited, very bright, very capable young girl who's never known what it's like to attend a school with other children. I mean, she is desperately pleading for this little girl's plight. It's not just a job to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I always love that about Elizabeth's character. Anytime we can see Elizabeth showcase those qualities, it reminds me of what I love about her, and how she is always that person who's ready to help, who won't give up, who's going to advocate and fight for her students, and fight for the people in Hope Valley, and fight for the people that she cares about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. My last fun question.
I know. I'm sorry. I cut you off. I apologize.
That is okay. We find out that Fiona was once engaged.
Whoa!
My fun question, because we can't really go into a lot of details about Fiona and her backstory this time, but if you could cast her ex-fiance, who would you cast?
Oh, man.
Wait, didn't you asked this on the live last night too, didn't you, Casey?
I did.
Who would I cast as her ex-fiance? Out of any actor, or in the Hallmark family?
We'll keep a Hallmark family, speak it into the universe in case it ever comes up for some drama. Future seasons. Season 9, ex-fiance shows up, kind of like Faith's ex-fiance showed up in Hope Valley. And maybe he becomes a permanent figure.
Tyler Hines.
Well, that's what I said. I know people were joking, and we've joked before too, how she's not going to pick Nathan or Lucas. Tyler Hines is going to run into town and be like, I got your girl. See ya. It was always Tyler Hines.
I don't see Tyler Hines. I don't see Tyler Hines as playing a character that Fiona would.
Yeah. I'm trying to be engaged to. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The first person I thought of was Tyler Hines, but I don't know. I feel like more like like Giles Panton.
Oh, he'd be fun.
He would be good.
So, yeah, Antonio Cayenne. or Cayenne. I'm not,
Yeah, that's it.
if I'm
Sorry,
saying,
Antonio.
I think he would be great.
That would be cute.
Yeah.
I never would have put them together. I never would have put the two of them together. Huh. Interesting.
That would be fun. I think
they would be fun in a modern movie.
Now those two would be really fun in a modern movie.
They would be. I could see that.
But I have to admit, when you said, who would you cast as the ex-fiance, my head immediately went to Marcus Rosner. But he played Charles. He can't do that.
Poor Marcus Rosner. He's always that ex, isn't he? He's always the ex-fiance.
What is his last name?
Casey Manderson?
Yes!
Casey Manderson.
Casey Manderson.
Oh, he would be good.
Yes,
great.
He would make, I think, a good ex-fiance for Fiona.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because he does.
Well, my last one that just popped into my head. He's done 2 movies, I think, for us. Jamie Calica. He would be.
Yeah.
Handsome man.
He is
he's good looking, and he's just really lovely and such a great actor. So, I mean, I don't know. There's lots of those are all good. Everybody that we brought up is a good choice.
Hey, we got the call sheet.
Do you think that that they would bring maybe the fiance back? That would be some good drama. Next season.
I don't think so, because she kind of closed the door on that one.
She did. She talked about it. That's what the whole big thing was, like when she was talking to Faith about it this episode. So
yeah, she closed the door, and I think that she's ready to move on with love here in Hope Valley. With whoever it's going to be.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe a guy that starts with an H.
Maybe. Or is Kevin gonna come back?
Yes.
Yeah, I always thought she and Kevin were adorable, but
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
And I was totally gunning for Hickam and Fiona, but then he says, I see you as more than a friend, and she flips out on him. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Is that not okay? Are we not going there?
It might be because she's not ready to go there, because she had just broken off.
I thought of that too.
Yep.
Yeah. And so maybe now she is ready to go there. So, who knows?
All righty.
Wow. Ladies, oh my goodness. I mean, how are you feeling for the season finale?
Now.
You want it now?
Pumped. I am.
Come now.
I don't feel like 45. I'm like 45 minutes. Could you? I want 2 hours.
I know.
I want a 2 hours.
Yeah.
I just want more. I'm greedy like that. I just want more. They've already given us 12 glorious episodes. They're going to give us 12 glorious episodes this season. So,
and I think next week's episode is 6 minutes longer. So
okay,
that's
right,
also
true.
a thing too. So. We will see.
A whole 6 minutes.
A lot of things can happen in 6 minutes.
Oh, they have shown us that. Every minute on this show is counting. And again, the words, the writing. I mean, it is just, this has been one of my favorite seasons, honestly.
It was definitely the most packed season.
Yeah, it really, I'm always shocked at how many storylines they can fit in every episode. Ladies, I feel so honored to be on here with both of you, and just thank you so much for asking me. This was so much fun.
Yeah. We were honored to have you.
So excited, and I'm so glad we got to chat again. Where can people find you, and where can people follow you and the Hallmark Channel's Bubbly Sesh?
Oh, thanks, Casey. Well, you can follow the Bubbly Sesh at the Bubbly Sesh. We're on Instagram and Twitter. And then And you can go to hallmarkchannel.com/Bubbly Sesh to find out more, subscribe, or check out what we've got on there. And then for me, you can follow me at Shawlini VMH. That's SHAWLINI VMH. And I'm on Instagram and Twitter. So you can follow me there. And my website is shawlinivmh.com.
All righty. Well, make sure you follow Shawl and the Hallmark Channel's Bubbly Sesh. And we will see you all back next week for the finale.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Bye, Hearties.
Bye, guys.